also. So I see. According to my things. Yeah. Yeah. You guys ready, Tanika? Okay.
Good morning and welcome to the December Service Committee meeting. Bob, would you please call roll?
Good morning, Director. Will you please indicate your attendance when I call your name? Director Smith? Oh, he's here, literally. Director Quick?
Present.
Director Gardner?
Present.
Please let the record reflect that Director Gardner is attending virtually. And because of that, he's handed over the chair for this committee meeting to Director Quick.
Thank you. Our first information item is information item I-1. Is our January 2026 communications updates presentation by Chief Public Affairs Officer Carrie Black.
Good morning, directors. I'm Carrie Black, Chief Public Affairs Officer, and delighted to be here this morning. So first off, we are going to talk about the IndyGo Rider Code of Conduct. So it has been a few years since this Code of Conduct has been updated. This is what it looks like now. It's encompassed in our rider guidelines, and this is a print booklet that we have at our Carson Transit Center. It's in the lobby over at 1501, and then of course it's all online on our website. So we last updated the rider guidelines and the Rider Code of Conduct in 2019. So we feel like it's due for a refresh. And so we have spent several years actually just going through and combing through and making sure that it's updated and clearly matches the things that that we are encountering today. And then before I jump in, lastly, you may ask, well, why are we finally updating it now? Well, we thought it was a nice way to dovetail into the new fares that will be launching in January. So as we roll out these new guidelines and the Rider Code of Conduct, we will be doing so within a publicity campaign. So talking a little bit about that, we want to make this a very noticeable thing. We want to ensure that our riders understand, they know what the rules of riding the bus are. The Code of Conduct is all geared towards rider behavior and ensuring that they are kind and that they are good riders and that they make it a pleasant experience for everyone on board. So the title of our Code of Conduct will be Kind and Respect the Ride. So that will include a printed and digital rider's guide. We're going to employ some of the design that you see in our Peace and Love on Board design that we had for a t-shirt design earlier this year. So with the flowers and, just again, creating a bit of an atmosphere and fanfare around this, that it's something special and it's something important. There will be a social media campaign. We will have print, radio, and digital ads. And then we will also have interior bus cards to remind our riders of some of the most important rules. So what's new in the guideline? Well, obviously, we will be pointing to the fact that you must pay your fare, and we will be directing them to a chart that will show what those new fares are effective January 1st, 2026. We will also be emphasizing that you must pay to ride. As you all know, fare evasion has been something that we've been battling and getting creative in the ways that we tackle it. And so we will certainly hearken to that and emphasize that that is important. That is something that's not currently emphasized as much in our current rider guidelines and code of conduct. Children under 5 ride free. The new thing here is that currently the code says that it's limit 2 children. We've removed that limit. Most of the time, it's rare, I think, that there are more than 2 children, but we didn't want to put that burden on our coach operators to have to tell a parent, a mother, sorry, 2 of your children can ride free, but you have to pay for the others. So we just figured we'd we'd remove that obstacle for both the adult fare-paying riders and our coach operators as well. So no limit on the number of children under 5 who can ride free with a fare-paying adult. We also have more information about conduct at our BRT stations and our super stops, and then a couple of other things just that we've noticed out and about, but notice we're not in our code of conduct, such as no laying down at the stations or on buses or at the CTC. And then finally, we do highlight our see something, say something. A lot of the rules within that surrounding safety were already part of the rider guideline and the code of conduct, but this is just couching it under the new branding that we launched earlier this year. Again, with that see something, say something, and empowering riders that if they notice something that doesn't seem right, to either call our customer service number, or there's also a link that we will direct them to where they can report in real time through a written report to let people know that something is not right, either on the bus or at the CTC or one of our other facilities. What's included? So these are things that are already a part of the guidelines. So obviously no violence, no food or drinks unless they're in closed containers, no alcohol, no smoking, no spitting. No unsupervised children, no shopping carts, no skating, rollerblading, or hoverboarding. I don't know if they have hoverboards anymore. No biking, no littering. No weapons, no bad behavior, no bullying or harassment, no vandalism. And of course, you must wear shirt, pants, short, skirt, and shoes. No shirt, no shoes, no bottoms, no service. So that pretty much encompasses, I think, the things in the Rider Code of Conduct. This time, I'm open for any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Carrie. I have a question, but I don't want to jump ahead of the presentation, so I'll hold it until you're finished with your next part. Thank you so much.
Sure, no problem. So next up, we're going to talk
Carrie?
about. Yes, yes.
Hey, just really quickly, with this see something, say something, are we connected to that? I think there's an app that Downtown Indy uses that's like branded see something, say something. This isn't connected to that, correct?
Correct. It's a little bit different. In fact, though, as we were launching that and putting together the branding, I did have a conversation with Taylor Schaefer about their app. But this is a little bit different, but with the same goal, the same mission, and the same outcome in mind, that you can report directly into it. And, with as much real time as we can report, respond to those concerns, particularly those that are of a critical nature.
And no concerns about how it's branded and how we'll be branding. You've kind of thought that piece of it through, I'm guessing, right?
You mean on the see something, say something?
Yes, yes.
So I believe theirs, and if anybody knows, so I think theirs is called See Say. So it's a little bit different than what we've branded ours as. But the see something, say something, we don't have a lock on that, Director Gardner. That's something that other agencies, government agencies, and entities use. So we really were tying into that overall mission that extends, more broadly, that we want people to act and be vigilant when they see something.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions about the Rider Code of Conduct? If not, I will move on to my next presentation about our final preps for new fares in 2026. So as you all know, and I hope everyone knows, in Marion County, effective January 1st, 2026, we will be increasing our fares. We've got a lot of things that have been ongoing throughout this process. A lot of things that we have been updating to ensure that the signage and decals inside and outside of our buses accurately reflect the new fare. So here you'll see some of the decals that currently exist on our fare boxes and on the exterior of our bus. So we have two different styles of fare boxes. So the long vertical decal you see, and then the smaller decal across the bottom go on those two fare boxes. And then the larger decal you see to the right, that includes the Safe Place logo. That goes on the exterior of our buses. So when you board the bus, as you're getting on, immediately to your right, it's right there outside of the bus. The other unique thing about us being able to, or having to, update this signage is it also gave us an opportunity to change up the look and also to add some other information. So again, emphasizing that you can use My Key to pay, emphasizing that you must pay to ride, talking a little bit about children under 5 can ride free with a fare-paying adult, and again, removing that limitation we had before. On our next slide, you'll see some new signage that we decided to implement. So this decal is going to go on our BRT station platforms and our super stops. So what we call the windscreens, but what you know as the glass, the clear glass that's on those stations, this is where this signage will go. And it's fairly large. I believe it's 12 inches wide, 18 inches tall, high. So we wanted to ensure that it was noticeable and that it was at the point of entry for all of our BRT platforms, super stops, and we'll also be placing these on more than 80 of our highest traffic bus shelters throughout Marion County. So again, just another place where we can post that new fare and ensure people understand what the fare is. Another new piece of signage that we decided to add is an interior bus card. So these are the cards that go inside the bus up at the top. So we've designed this card that will go at the front of each of our buses. So that includes our regular buses as well as our BRT buses. In addition to this print signage on the BRT buses, we also have the same messaging on those screens, on those monitors that are hanging up in our BRT buses. So that messaging rotates through multiple messages. So we wanted to add this card as something fixed that, again, if an operator has an issue with a rider, they can easily point to the sign to inform them of the new fare. In addition to the signage, there are lots of other things that have our fare printed on them that we've updated. So that includes all of our printed route maps for all of our routes, our website, and in many places on the website. So we've gone through, and that's an example right there of what our website looks like now. We have the current fare prices at the top on the fares page, and then underneath we have what the fares will be effective January 1st. After January 1st, we'll go through obviously and remove the current fare and just have the new fares. Our rider code of conduct, as I just talked about, and then also we'll be adding some messaging to our real-time monitors on our BRT stations. And then just a quick recap of what we said we would do at the beginning, what we have been doing, and what will be ongoing. So we have been running announcements on social media. We have audio announcements running on our buses at the CTC and at the BRT stations. We have print, radio, and digital advertising, a special website that people are directed to through all of those things I just mentioned. There are QR codes like what you see in that ad there that direct people to that page. And then there are rack cards. These are our cards that are about this size that are made of kind of like a card stock that our transit ambassadors have been handing out to riders at the transit center. And then speaking of that outreach, we have had extensive outreach on our buses. So our army of 25 to 30 transit ambassadors have been riding all of our routes for the last 3 months, handing out those rack cards and informing riders of the change of the new fares. We've touched more than 2,000 riders through this outreach. Open houses. We've had 2 open houses a month since September at the transit center. And you see photos there of what that looks like, where we have the new fare fare information out on the big poster boards on easels. Again, talking to riders where they are, ensuring they understand what's happening and when. And again, talking about MyKey and the advantages you can get when using fare capping to save a little bit of money. And then finally, digital and print signage on our buses, as well as at the transit center. So I think that's it. Our goal is to ensure that no rider can say that they didn't know that the fares were going up. And I would just like to thank all of the executive team members that have been helpful throughout this process, particularly with the Rider Code of Conduct, just in helping us to review and make sure that we got everything, all of our boxes checked, and an extensive network of leadership members throughout the agency who also helped us to review those, check, double check, and triple check. And then finally to my team, the public affairs team, who's led the efforts with all of this and worked tirelessly. I could not do it without them. So I just want to publicly acknowledge them as well. I'm now open for questions.
Thank you, Carrie. I definitely appreciate all of the work that you and your team have done, and the information that you shared today is fantastic. I truly appreciate that. I do have a question. My first question is related to the signage. Can you talk a little bit about what we're considering when we speak about how IndyGo offers free or reduced priced fares and that valid ID is required? What are we considering as valid ID?
So I believe in that respect, we're talking about they would need the ID card that we issue for those who qualify for half fare. So for veterans or free fare. So veterans, they can go to our transit center, they bring the necessary paperwork, and then they are issued a photo ID card that indicates that they are eligible for the free fare. For those 65 and older, same thing. For those with disabilities, I believe the process is similar. So once they go and they fill out the paperwork and they qualify for those reduced fares, then they get a special card, a special MyKey card that indicates that they qualify for that fare. That would be their valid ID.
Okay. And is that process also being explained so that when someone is just standing and waiting on the bus and they've heard that it's free or reduced price fare for their particular category? So can you talk a little bit about how that is being communicated also?
Sure. So right now we do have it on our website. Our transit ambassadors are very good at making sure that riders understand these are some of the opportunities that we have where you can also save money if you're eligible, and pointing them to those things. It's also discussed in those open houses that we have. We have a poster board that outlines that. And then again, our volunteers or our team members who are there to walk folks through what that process looks like.
Okay, thank you. One more question, and this is related to the fare capping. Are we exploring ways for fare capping to be visible in real time for riders, like through text or through the app or something like that?
Are you asking, so as they're riding, to know how they're how it's amounting up and
Yes.
how close they are to
Yes.
the cap? So for those who have the app, and that's really right now you have to have your card registered through the app. So going into the app, I believe that you can see how many rides that you have. I will be honest, because of our status as teammates, I don't use the app in that same way that a rider would. So there may be somebody else who can speak more specifically to what that interface might look like. Okay. So we don't have that, but
Okay.
we will.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the lifeline, Brooke.
Gary, being the newest person on the board here,
Yes, sir.
the transactions, how are they conducted at the stations? Is it cash if you don't have the card, or what?
So at the stations, at the stations themselves, you can put cash into the ticket vending machine, and then it will spit out a a paper pass or a paper card, it's not a pass, that you can use. And then you can hold on to that and reload it regularly. So there is a way for people who are using cash to still interact with MyKey and also take advantage of the fare capping. And that's one of the things that we are educating our riders on as well, because a lot of folks do assume that MyKey, you have to have a credit card to be able to have a MyKey account and to be able to use it. And that's not true. You can absolutely use cash either at the stations or you can go to the CTC and reload your card there as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Carrie, related to like the open houses and some other outreach that you all have done, can you talk a bit about how you connected with those with disabilities and limited English proficiency and like encouraging them to attend the open houses and whatnot?
Yes, great question. We are very dedicated to ensuring, I'll talk first about the limited English proficiency, to being able to connect with those riders. So we have a partnership with Globo that handles all of our print translations, and they also do interpretation as well. So they are available. So we have someone on call to do translations in Spanish and Haitian Creole, which are the two languages that we've identified are of the most need in our rider population, who are available to talk to riders who maybe don't speak English as a first language and would be more comfortable communicating with someone who speaks Spanish and Haitian Creole. I will also mention that my outreach manager, Caleb Bledsoe, is fluent in Spanish and does an amazing job communicating with our Spanish-speaking riders, both on the bus, and she also attends all of these open houses and can handle that in person as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Darius had a question.
Director Gardner? Did you have a question?
Oh, thanks, Carrie. I just wanted to ask really quickly, with the signage that you shared, has all of that been approved? I just want to confirm we're not going to see any adjustments or changes. Has that been approved through whatever processes with the city?
Oh, with the city? So you're talking about the signage that's on the buses and on the inside and outside of the buses? Or are you talking about the placement of the signage?
Yeah. Does the signage on the bus, I guess maybe that's my question. Does that have to go through an approval process? Is what you shared what we actually get?
Yes. So the signs that are on the bus are replacing signs that are already existing. So it's gone through the approval process within the agency. As far as I understand, and Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, that's what we need.
And there's none of those signs were actually going on to any of the stations, I guess is my second question.
So yes, there is that one sign that is going on the stations, actually right next to signage that we also already have posted on our stations.
This is Bob for Director Gardner. Also, we are exempt from the city sign ordinance for, informational type signage on our BRT stations.
That's what I needed to know, Bob. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Carrie. Are there any additional questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Then our next item is information item I-2, Ride Safe updates presented by Chief Operations Officer Annette Darrow and Senior Director of Security and Enforcement, Tony Craig.
Hi, I just want to say that our charge is to provide safe, reliable transportation, and we kicked off this Ride Safe program, so we appreciate the time to give this update. We've had a lot of things that have changed up this year, and Tony is a new addition to our team this year. And so with his law enforcement background and all we're trying to do with safety, security, and fair enforcement, we just are happy for this opportunity for him to give us an update on the exciting things his team has worked on and what they have in store for next year as well.
Good morning, directors. Thank you for letting me come before you today, and thanks for getting here on a snowy morning. I hope it wasn't too hard of a drive. Especially for Director Smith, some of this is going to be review, so I want to move rather quickly, especially through this first slide. There are 5 components to what we have enacted in this. Moving through, and I'm certainly not purporting to read each one of these. The first one has to do with see something, say something, which Carrie did a great job of addressing. The only real thing that I want to add to see something, say something is it is a wonderful component in myself and what we do every day in security. Someone can literally get on their cell phone, they can get on their laptop, or they can make a phone call, and we can get real-time information to the dispatch center, not necessarily as quickly as 911, if you will, but we can actually hear something that either has just occurred or perhaps is occurring, where we can have our IMPD officers that we contract to work respond and deal with a problem while it is actually occurring. It also gives the ridership a wonderful outlet where they can comment on everything that they see, and whether it's good or bad, and allow us to react to it and deal with it. So I am a big proponent of the See Something, Say Something program. I can literally spend a half an hour or more on each one of these topics. I don't purport to do that for you this morning. We are going to maximize technology. See Something, Say Something is a perfect example. We are maximizing it. Every month we are putting together a report for the board. Mark Emmons has been instrumental in doing that for us each year. We meet as a group now every week, and we talk about what trends are. We talk about, have we had assaults on coach operators? What is up, what is down, and we are dealing with things in real time. We're not waiting 4 or 5 months and looking at data. We're looking at data each and every week so that we are very up to speed and we are dealing with problems. We recently had a problem, University of Indianapolis, and we have partnered with them and we are dealing with that issue just splendidly. Things have really turned out well for us there. So that type of approach has been wonderful for us. We are absolutely going to be working through my background, and we have another person that we hired, Michael Brown, who has also has law enforcement background. We are updating kind of our process. We're more modernizing security. We are partnering, and as you're going to see this in the slides, with law enforcement in multiple different tiers, both federal, local, countywide, and we're helping each other, and we're team working problems as they come out. The zero tolerance, I want to spend just a moment on this. We are defining what zero tolerance issues that we are going to have. The example I would have for you this morning, I have zero tolerance for anyone who violently assaults one of our operators. I don't believe that person should continue to be able to utilize our service. Beyond that, we want to treat our ridership very fairly, and therefore we want to define each and every case as it comes around as to how egregious the violation is before we actually have a zero tolerance on that. There are certain things we are not going to permit, and we will deal with those accordingly as they occur. Finally, we are working to better understand existing laws and better utilizing ordinances and laws as we work with each other every day. Can we go to the next slide? I want to start off, and I want to start firsthand showing you the great components that security has here for us. One of our mainstays is we have a clinical social worker, Wardy Ward. Ward goes out and he goes to platforms every single day. He goes to the CTC. He meets with folks. He helps house more people than you can imagine. He gives assistance to more people than you can imagine. So he is a great component for us. And I want to give him an opportunity to come up here and talk about what he does. And then we will have a short video for you.
Hello, everybody. Again, my name is Wardy Ward. Glad to be here today. Wrote down some notes so I can stay on task here. Excuse me. I'd like to say that starting out, I feel that everybody at IndyGo has a shared responsibility of guiding our transit system forward with greater stability, increased ridership, and of course, long-term stability and gaining community trust. Daily, myself and others, we engage with riders and members who may be facing situations such as homelessness, mental health issues, food insecurities, or personal crises. But by respectful, compassionate interactions, riders are helped to stabilize these situations that could disrupt service, compromise safety, and also strain our security resources. That's something that we want to try to avoid at all costs. We can help these vulnerable riders by listening carefully and connect them to resources that may help them immediately. These resources can include shelters, food programs, medical care, crisis support, and of course, navigating our bus systems as well. I'd like to give two examples of some individuals that I personally have met that have kind of resonated with me. I remember earlier this summer, I was working at the CTC and I met a gentleman and he had on the traditional tan khaki shirt and pants that people get when they're released from prison. So I introduced myself to the individual and asked him, is there anything I can help him with or answer questions? And he had explained to me that he had been incarcerated for 12 years and he didn't have very much family when he left. When he came back, he was kind of displaced and he was lost and didn't know what he was going to do. He stated that he had actually stayed outside for the last 2 days and he hadn't had anything to eat. So I welcomed him back home. That's something that we tell returning citizens that because surviving the prison system can be a traumatic experience for many people. And I welcomed him back and I told him that there were places we can get him to right now that it can give him immediate food, hot meals, and a place to stay. After that, I told him we have a plethora of partners that we work with who could actually help him. And one of those places I mentioned was Pace Indy, and the other was KG. Those places work specifically with people with challenged backgrounds from the justice system. And he asked more questions about it. I explained that they help him with getting permanent housing. They'll help him with employment. They help him with a turnaround speech. And they often hire people who have those experiences as well. He told me that he didn't know that those places existed and he had a tear in his eye. And he let me know that he was thankful and he would take that opportunity to follow up on those places as well. And there was another example of a man that I met while riding the red line, and he had a look in his eye as well too. And I approached him again. He told me about his situation. He stated that he had been battling substance abuse all his life. At this particular time, he had relapsed, and his family told him that if he relapsed again, he would no longer be able to stay with them, and he was going to have to get out. He decided that day that he was going to take his life because he didn't have anywhere else to go and he knew he had messed up. So I talked to the gentleman. I asked him, I said, well, let's consider how life would be if you didn't have these substance issues. What would it look like for you? Can you describe that? So he explained that he probably would have a house, he'd have a car, maybe a family. And I said, well, okay, what if there was a place that could help you to achieve those goals, to get the tools to work that type of situation in your life? Would you be interested? And he said, well, I would be, but I failed so many times. I don't know if I could do it. And I explained to him that many times we fail, but we have to keep getting back up because each failure leads you a step closer to being successful. So I said, let's just call Eskenazi now and let's just see if they can get you in. Would you go? He stated that he would go if we could get him in. So we called there and they said, yeah, if he can get here by 5 o'clock, he can go. So I happened to have a bus pass on me that day. Normally don't give out bus passes, but I had one. I gave it to him. He went there. And to make a long story short, this gentleman calls me to this day. Once every 3 weeks, he'll text me and just say, hey, Mr. Ward, how you doing? I'm doing okay. He said I had some bumps along the way, but I'm still doing all right. So he's a success story that I'm really proud of. But that just goes to show that our at the end of the day, we do have that human component, and many companies don't have a social service coordinator to care about our people because we face a lot of issues every day, and it's important that we have someone to know that we care. That's not just somebody who's using our services. So I wanted to show a quick video to show you what it's like in a day of a life as a social service coordinator. Just a quick glimpse. So if we could show that video, I'll continue after that. So as we can see, the social service coordinator, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to work with partners in our community that are doing this work and make the connections. And one other thing I wanted to add before I turn this back over to Tony was I looked up companies that have been around over 50 years, and four things came up that I really want to touch on. Number one, adaptability to change. That's something that we're definitely doing in the social services position. It's a change agent out there that many people are happy to see. When I talk to them, they say, wow, we didn't know the IndyGo had someone that cared about us like that. Number two, strong leadership. We obviously have strong leadership because we're having meetings like these and we're keeping the community informed, and that's very good. Customer-centric approach. We understand that the customer is not always right, but we understand that the customer has a right to be satisfied. And that's something that we're very big on. And finally, strategic partnerships. IndyGo has many partners that we can rely on to help us. They bypass us at discount rates and they give them out to the community. And I'm able to refer our riders to those places and help them get the services they need too. So we're working together. So that's pretty much I have for my presentation. Do you guys have any questions for me at this time?
Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for sharing the video also. My question is, it may be, maybe we come back to it at the end, but I'm going to ask it now because I think that this may directly involve you. So as we hear further about the presentation related to with the security department and the fair enforcement, can you talk maybe about the coordination that may happen between you and fair enforcement to make sure that we're not only enforcing fares, but we are showing dignity and care to the riders also?
Yes, absolutely. I work I work with all the teams closely under the leadership of course, Mr. Craig. We work together at fair blitzes and in like the CTC where we're at. The team will correspond, hey, this is going on here. We have people here. If they see people who are, say, not paying fares but congregating on a platform, then I'll get a call. I'll go over there and I'll try to figure out what's going on, why they have this. Maybe there's a need, we can connect to there. But it's just constant communication and constant improvement in these areas that we're able to be successful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Compliment you on your efforts. And like I said, I'm new, but this is just awe-inspiring to see the sensitivity and all that we have for our ridership.
Well, if we were playing poker, you can start to see my hand now. I can be a police officer. I have been one for a very, very long time. That's easy. I can go out and I can write tickets and I can enforce ordinance and I can eject people. That is about as far from what I want to achieve as possible. Directly to your question, okay? Having Ward, and we're going to get into the rest of the program here very shortly, it is all about our ridership. It is about taking care of them. It is about making them want to come to our buses and feel safe and be on our buses. And I have to add on, I have a passion about making sure that our coach operators are safe when they are doing their job. So Ward is one major component of multiple components within a security theology that we are working. So great question. Thank you. Can I have the next slide, please, and thanks? And we'll move on. So another part of my background is mental health. I've done a great deal of mental health stuff in the law enforcement community. I've started counseling programs and so on and so forth throughout central Indiana. And in doing so, you've probably heard of a program, Critical Incident Stress Management. We are in the infancy phases of this, so I'm going to talk lightly about it. And what it boils down to is it provides a team or two within any organization that if there is a critical incident or something very serious happens to a coach operator, a team comes in and actually debriefs everyone. A debrief is confidential, it is closed door, and it allows for the employee to emotionally process, if you will, what has happened after some type of critical event. This team also can be singular or dual, where we would provide on-site peer support for a person or a coach operator or a supervisor or employee who has been through something stressful. So this is another component of what I'm doing from a security standpoint, because I think it keeps our people healthy and I think it keeps our people going. And again, we're developing this, so I don't have a lot of detail for you yet. I can talk about it all day long, but I wanted to touch on it during this presentation because along with Ward, I think it is extremely important This program will do a great deal of good for us as we move forward. Next slide, please, and thank you. All right. The transit safety officer. There's been a lot of conversation, a lot of talk. I have to give a nod to our former COO, Aaron Vogel, and I have to give a nod to our president and current COO. This has been something a long time in the making. We are about to hire 3 new employees on the 29th of this month, and then hopefully a 4th employee around the 5th of January. These are going to be our first transit safety officers. What are they? They are a fare inspector, as we have contractual fare inspectors now who go out and help our general ridership and try to get them to pay their fares and show them the technology and work with them to do so. The other component that they have is security officer. Now, to go along with what I said earlier, their job is to not, they will be in uniform. Their job is not to be on the bus intimidating people or make them feel uncomfortable. As a matter of fact, it is exactly the opposite. I want these people talking with our ridership about who their favorite football team is, who their favorite basketball players are. I want them to be conversing and doing good things. However, from a security standpoint and from a policing standpoint, you may have heard something called the term of officer presence. Officer presence is a wonderful first line tool to prevent problems from happening. So I hope that it will make our ridership feel more safe, seeing these folks moving around our buses. And number 2, should a problem break out, these folks will be trained in de-escalation. They will be able to get law enforcement backup if they actually need it. I hope not, but if they do, we can. And they will be very well trained in verbalization type skills, verbal judo and other things to help them talk their way through a problem. The transit safety officer will also primarily be there to make sure that everyone pays their fare, to help people who cannot. And I know the question that is going to come, and I want to be very clear. I don't think that ejecting people right out of the gate is the correct approach. This is the first fare increase we've had in a long time. And I think people, although they've had time to know it's coming, now they need to adapt their budgets to it. And there are going to be people who can't pay. And I want to see those people worked with rather than ejected from our buses. Do we reach a point in a few weeks or a few months that consequences must come into play where we have to ban someone from the bus or remove them from the bus? Yes, possibly. Also, for us to impose a fining system, we would have to enact an ordinance, and that's not a small task. So at first, I want to train our folks as best as we possibly can and bring them out as courteous ambassadors to greet our ridership and be the front line, along with the coach operators while they're driving, to give our riders a safe and good experience. Okay? That's what the transit safety officers are. Next slide, please. What are we doing? I have been here now for about 7 months, and we have put a new patrol theology and a new theology at the CTC, which is working very well. Our incidents are down. We have a much better management structure and management oversight structure in place at the CTC, and it has worked very well for us over the last several months. We have conducted 3 fare blitzes since July, if memory serves, in which we have gone out and we have helped people make sure that they pay their fees. We have done these at the CTC during the larger transit times of the day, and they have been very beneficial to us, and the results have been wonderful. And it also gives us an opportunity to interact with folks. And back to your question, if we have an individual who is truly indigent or truly having problems, we bring Ward in to help that person on the spot. So we can offer them on the spot assistance. We're not just handing them a pamphlet and sending them on their way, or we are actually walking the walk as we do it. We are conducting and have been a complete overview of all of our security policies. We have had police officers riding on buses sporadically for the last several months. Unfortunately, we had a lot of violence here in Indianapolis over the last summer, and the police officers on the buses have gained a great deal of good commentary from our coach operators and a lot of positive feedback from the public. That program is going to continue. To what degree, I can't say. We are holding it after the holidays, but we do have police officers in cars that are following our buses so that if something happens, they're very close and can respond very rapidly. We are updating training. All of our contract guards and all of our IndyGo security people have now been through a basic de-escalation and an advanced de-escalation course to help them verbalize and help them verbally intervene and utilize communication to stop an act so that we don't have to, hopefully it avoids any type of violence. Continuing to update training. I just covered that. We have a new lead officer. I will touch on that real quick from the management oversight position. Military background officer who works day shift at the CTC, and he has really done. Lionel has done a wonderful job for us there. Finally, we have been reaching out to and establishing relationships. There's a lot of acronyms up there from a communications network with obviously the Metropolitan Police Department, the State Police, the FBI, the ATF, the NTSB, U of I, and several others. We are physically actually asking them to assign us a liaison officer, and Mark Emmons and I are meeting with these folks. We've met with a few of them over the last several weeks, and we continue to grow those relationships. Next slide, please. Our security team members are now and will in 2026 have monthly trainings. These will be everything to do with bomb detection, terroristic threats, how to deal with them, all the way to continued verbal judo type training and de-escalation training. We have done an active shooter tabletop for the company this year, and we are in preparation to do a low-level active shooter drill at both East and West campuses in the coming weeks, which will give all employees the hide, fight, flight type such a scenario where they will be able to deal with the scenario in their offices and try to determine what is best. To sum everything up, I want to show you a video. It's just a few months old. You'll recognize Aaron Vogel on here, and I think it speaks for itself. So let's show that if we could, please. Okay. I knew I wouldn't get through it without some type of a glitch. Let me finish up for you guys. I am extremely passionate about being here, and I'm very happy to be here. My biggest goal about being here is not to be an enforcer. It is to be an emissary. And it is to make IndyGo the best we can possibly make it, the most secure we can make it, and give our ridership a true feeling of security and compassion from the people that work for me. Thank you for letting me talk to you this morning. I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Tony. Maybe at a later time, we can see that video. I'm very interested in seeing it.
I would love to show it.
I also just want to commend you on the efforts and the plan to bring on additional or new transit safety officers. I'm a strong opponent in regards to operators of the buses being operators and not having to worry about their enforcement or the safety of themselves or the riders. So I certainly appreciate all the efforts and the plans that are in place. I do have a question related to, I believe you identified 4 transit safety officers between the end of the December and maybe the first week of January. Are those 4 officers, is that the extent or is that in addition to a team that's already in place? And then is that like the end? Is it a plan to, like, this may be what I'll call the pilot to see what the need is, and then will those officers grow? And can you just speak to that just a little bit?
Okay, the latter, that is exactly what it is. It's a pilot program, and we currently have, I believe, 16 contract fare inspectors. of which we will remove 4 of those positions and replace them with TSOs. They will go forward, and hopefully there's going to be some better, different training, some added training, and then they will be trained as security officers as well, which will give them a better approach, I hope, and a great approach to collecting fares and making sure that each and every person pays, as they should. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
again. And that concludes our agenda. Our meeting is now adjourned. The next meeting of the Service Committee will be held on Thursday, February 12th, 2026 at 8:30 a.m. here in our East Campus Boardroom. As always, recordings of our meetings are available on Channel 16 and on our website at indigo.net. Thank you.
I tested it yesterday.